The thing was, we did the job really well. We got all that 7,000 tonne in a day and we spread it out and we did it right and we compacted it and it's like concrete, that whole road. It went wrong in the pricing phase. So we could have stacked the price up a couple million more, but I'd be telling you a completely different story.
A memory without emotion is called wisdom. But if you think back now, when you're in it, the emotion that you're feeling, you feel that you are this big, but the weight on your shoulders is this much, and that life's really shit. Looking back now, look how you talk about it, you know, with no emotion, and you're saying, we were good, we pumped our numbers, we did well, this is where I think we learned from it. But more so than that, I learned that I didn't really want to do 550,000 tonne roads.
If you feel like you're not getting ahead in Melbourne or Sydney, move to WA. There's opportunities to earn good money, build something for yourself, affordable housing, affordable living. If anyone's, looking for a change and got a set of balls, try regional life.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are here with Phil Yates, Versatile Plant Hire and Contracting. I love it when people bring it a shirt that actually says where they're from and what I got to say. Makes it way easier. Phil, say hello.
G'day, Jimmy. Everybody, how are you?
He's actually flown over from Perth to have a chat to us.
And the time difference has messed my head up.
He's been crying about it all morning. We had to wipe the tears out of his eyes when we sat down.
That's all right, though. Coffee helps with that, so it's going to be all right.
Tell us what you do over in WA, Phil, and where you come from.
We're a civil earth moving business. We're based in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia. We work mainly on gold sites, gold mining sites, and we do a bit of shy local government work as well. I've been in Kalgoorlie for 19 years, and when I moved over there I had nothing and just wanted to drive either road trains or mining gear, the biggest stuff I could get into, and it sort of worked out pretty well for me. Started with one Bobcat.
What sort of Bobcat?
An S130 Bobcat.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a big
wheels?
On wheels.
Yeah. Now
Track machines were not such a big thing back in the day.
We're 2-foot pedals and two...
My preferred method, mate. Yeah, my preferred method. The joysticks thing is it's taken some adjustment, but I'm there now.
Okay.
Started with one Bobcat on dry hire to a gold mine, and while I still had a job driving road trains at the time, and it's sort of grown from there. I had the one Bobcat, and then I became a safety and training manager for the bulk haulage company that I worked for, and I had to install signage on haul roads around gold mines. And so I couldn't get anyone to turn up with a Bobcat in an auger, so I bought a second Bobcat and started installing signs.
Another S130?
That was a 753 actually. So the predecessor to the S130.
Yep.
That was an old girl, but it did me well. Get around with a 5-ton tipper and a Bobcat 753 in the back and an auger hanging out the back end and lugging around 20-kilo bags of concrete on weekends. Mm-hmm. And eventually there was too much Bobcat work for me to do with a full-time job, so cancelled the full-time job. Got a job driving mining machinery on a week-on, week-off roster and built
Very
a bit.
Cool. What sort of mining gear did you end up getting in?
It was funny, actually. I started as a trainee dump truck driver in 777s. 785s, and then I drove the water cart for a couple of weeks, and then they threw me in a PC 1250 when I convinced the shift boss that I knew how to operate an excavator.
How did that go for you?
Oh, magnificent, mate. I love it. PC 1250 loading 777s. I could do that for 12 hours a day still. I love that machine, and but that didn't last long. Ended up in an O&K RH 120E 300-ton excavator, loading the bigger dump trucks. And
I wonder if everyone's brain at home goes like me, like with the machinery, like you go 777s, 1250, 130, okay. Yeah, well...
the bigger the number, the bigger the machine, right?
Nah, that's not how it works at all the time, is it? You said a 753, that's a 2-ton Bobcat, ain't it?
Well, now I have a 285, and that's a 7-ton posi track.
Makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to make sense.
But yeah, so now you've gotten up to a 1250.
Yeah, and then an RH 120E, trying to remember that, because that was 2012 I was driving that machine, and that was fantastic, super exciting for a couple of months, and night shift in a 300-ton excavator in an open pit operation was a thrill for a couple of months, but after a couple of months it got incredibly tedious.
I've actually got a few guys coming over from WA who are big time, you know,
digger drivers.
9,400, 9,800 guys now that are going to come and talk.
Yep.
You got to be a special breed to do it for a long time.
You do. And it's horses for courses, right?
Correct.
There's skills, and loading dump trucks into production environments, real art. And I know a lot of guys who do it and do it really well. And
let me tell you, for anyone playing along at home, that's some money. If you start to be one of those guys who goes around and you can show, I've got this number in this machine, and when they look at it, they go, "Oh, that's pretty good." You're worth some coin.
Your skill is measurable when you're doing that sort of work, you know.
Very much. And
it is the guys who set production records; they're in demand. But 100%. You take one of those guys. I had a fella that I used to work with who big 9,400, 600, 800 machines, 800-ton excavators, and he asked if he could do some casual work for me on his week off.
Fucking rubbish.
Put him in a 3.5-ton excavator.
Rubbish.
And it was like he'd never sat on a machine in his life.
Yeah.
Could not do it.
Yeah, but he could bust 10,000 tonne in a shift.
Yeah, 10,000 BCM in 12 hours, no problem.
Yeah.
3.5-ton excavator digging out a garden bed, forget about it, you know. But that's the way it goes. And I still get mining operators applying for jobs for us. You know, our biggest excavator's 30 tonnes, and these guys come in, they want to drive dump trucks, bulldozer, excavators. They've done heaps of mining for years.
How do you go with that? Because like you Kalgoorlie, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
That's correct.
You get to the middle of nowhere, you go a little bit further into the middle of nowhere, and that's Kalgoorlie.
About 100 k's past the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And then, you know, mining's got to be the main thing. Like you're gold mining and sort of ancillary work, it sounds like, to the mines. But then you have, BHP down the road is searching for an excavator operator, and you're like, I've got to dig out, a backyard.
Yep.
How do you compete with a BHP?
It's a constant thing, hey. First of all, no one moves to Kalgoorlie because they want to drive small machines. No one moves there to get a job driving bobcats. It's same as no one moves there to work in Woolworths and Coles. It's they come there to drive big dump trucks, big excavators, D10s, and all that sort of stuff.
And be on a roster where they get paid the whole year's wage, only work half.
Only work half of it. We're set up, we work Monday to Friday for the most part, and you'd be surprised how many people, that roster doesn't suit me. You get the weekend off, you're home
Monday
every
to
day.
Friday is a roster now.
It's a roster.
I suppose it is a roster. Eh?
It's not the preferred roster either where we come from. So, always competing with the mining companies for operators, a lack of skills doing what we do. The roster is a problem for us, and we just have to pay equivalent rates to the mining companies. You know, we're not a global billion-dollar gold mining company who digs it out of the ground.
No.
We just provide a service to those companies.
I suppose, I watch a bit of that, as, any earth mover in probably Australia does, and I don't know how far it goes around the world. I watch a bit of that, like Aussie gold hunters, and, you have the guys with the metal detectors. That's not the sort. But you have some guys that are producing a little bit of gold, and got a little bit of, so that's what I'm assuming, like that level and above, sort of stuff that you're doing where they're doing the leach ponds or whatever. What's that called?
Heap leach.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, that's one of the extraction methods. We work for big mining companies.
Oh,
we're not working for the prospectors, although I know a few, and every now and then I go and push a bit of ground. Mm-hmm. I've learned that a handshake deal that will split whatever we find on the day doesn't work.
That's not that good.
I only work for cash for prospectors. But there are plenty of people who do prospecting full time. I know a guy who's got a 20-ton excavator, a 972 loader, lives on his lease, and he does all right. But the prospecting is more like prospecting and cutting firewood are like fishing in Kalgoorlie. People go fishing if you live near the water. Yeah. Prospecting and firewood are the two versions of fishing that we have inland in Kalgoorlie.
Firewood.
Oh yeah, everyone loves going out with a chainsaw, don't they? Barbecue, couple of beers, chop a tree down, cut it up. It's good fun, actually.
Put it in your tandem trailer and off you go.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's just a good pastime. It's a good pastime. But what was I saying? We work for some pretty big mining companies. Mm-hmm. The mine sites we work on, they're big open pit and underground operations, and their job is to dig the ore out of the ground. Then we have road trains carting it to the mill. Like, we don't run the road trains, but there are road trains, big mining fleets. We are the company that does We build the dams for them. We build haul roads.
All the ancillary works,
the site
management,
services,
where they don't want to be employing a civil, project manager because they're gold miners.
They don't want to divert their mining fleet to build a little dam, so they call the experts in, and that's what we do.
Yeah,
and it's great. We fill the gaps on the mine site between the mining fleet, because they can't divert the mining fleet to do little earth moving jobs and whatever else, but we fill the gaps.
So tell me a bit more about Versatile and how it's a rise up, because you got a few machines now.
Yeah,
you got a few boys. We were talking about mechanics before and stuff like that. So we left off and went into mining chat at about Bobcat number 2 in the 5 ton, or not 5 ton.
It was from driving road trains, driving quad side tippers around, delivering gold from satellite pits to mills. That gave me a good overview of how mining works, and then sort of shifted into supervisor and management roles, safety and training, and needed to improve the areas that we worked in. So as an employee of the bulk haulage company, I bought a machine and started making improvements on weekends myself. And then that led into mining companies asking me, can you put some signs up for us as well? And then before too long, like I said, I went through the mining operation thing and eventually just started doing Versatile plant hire full time. And at one point there I had 5 Bobcats and no employees. So really, it's not that I saw an opportunity for a business. I saw an opportunity for me to have and operate all the machines and trucks that I ever wanted since I was a little boy. And so everyone's got their own motivation for getting into business, and that's really what mine is. So over the years I've had just about all the machines I ever wanted.
Which one did you want most?
Bobcats are
Bobcat.
The true love, my first love. Apart from my wife, who is the love of my life, I'm obliged to say. But
Miss Yates,
Mrs. Yates, Shay Yates. She's the fire that keeps me warm. But yeah, really only ever wanted Bobcats. But that led into you got to have an excavator, and then you got to have a tipper and a trailer so you can get them around, and struggling to find employees with skills when you're that size. So a lot of hard work. Probably spent 6 years working away from home on remote sites, because that's where the work was that I could get, and just add machines and keep going. And we got up, at one point there we had about 70 machines and trucks and LVs and close to 60 people. But I've downsized a fair bit since then. That was only last year, but we've downsized.
Interesting. Why?
Because we tried big time contracting, and I wasn't prepared for it, and it didn't go the way it was supposed to go. And so apart from the stress of doing that and the financial implications of having a job go not completely wrong, but about 10% wrong.
When you're only making 10%, let's say, margin on top of an hourly hire rate, maybe if you own a lot of bits of gear, you might have some value in what those hourly hire rates are that you're going to make. But if you're going out contracting and then you lose your margin,
it's gone, and it's a fight for survival all of a sudden. But really what that meant for me was that motivation to keep going was not there so much. So just a headache to have that many people, that many machines. So we downsized a little bit and just trying to regroup and rebuild a bit. And that's going really well for us. And I think I prefer to be a smaller business, rather than doing $10 million contracts. I'd rather do dozens of $500,000 contracts in a year, So that's a lot more manageable for us. And it means that I don't have to have a huge pool of resources for people and machines to do the work. We can just sort of get it done with who we are.
Did you find that you moved into a new, because I'm guessing that over there's a lot of sharks swimming around, even though you're in the middle of the desert, the sharks are driving Land Cruisers down the main street of Kalgoorlie.
Yeah.
Did you find you moved into a new area at the $500,000 contract? The real big sharks aren't necessarily swimming on those ones, but then you moved into a $10 million job, and all of a sudden
the sharks were right there in the office next to our office, and that was difficult because we weren't prepared for that. all of a sudden found ourselves in really deep water and working for contractually ruthless people. And that was not a fun experience. I just sort of walked in there thinking, yep, I know how to do earth moving. I'll make this work. Some better choices of people on my side would have made it easier.
Like as in your employees that you had have employed some more of them?
Yeah, if I'd had better professional people running the job, that would have been it would have been. But a
that's so
story.
difficult to do too, because what one goes first? Do you have the chicken or the egg?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like do you employ the people and try and win the job and then deliver the job, or do you win the job, try and deliver the job while finding the people?
Well, that's how we went, and in the end, it was easier for me to just flog myself half to death, get there every day, and make it happen.
Sorry for interrupting this episode. I may as well do my own ads on here rather than just having YouTube ads. CONEXPO has its last discount code up now. It's going to last all the way to the expo. It's Starbucks 20 and get you 20% off of your tickets. So don't buy them at full price. Look forward to seeing you all there. Thanks. Did you find with your experience, so now you've moved into, from... let's say at the beginning, driving bobcats, installing street signs, to now taking on what sounds like to be some fairly decent civil packs.
Yeah.
Did you find your operating level was not where it needed to be, or were you all right at that time?
As far as earth moving goes, we could do it with our eyes shut. I've got some really highly skilled guys that work for me. We've certainly got a really nice fleet of machines. It was the professional side, the document control, the project management, the safety side, and all of that background stuff, which you think about earth moving and you think, I've got the machines, I've got the skills, I can do it. You don't realise, I didn't realise that, I've got to have a whole office full of people who've got not just a good attitude, but skills and experience and knowledge. And I've got to have all those people before I even start this job. Yeah. I didn't understand that. So that job went a bit sideways for me because...
What were you doing there, just around about...
That was a renewable energy project. So we cleared over 200 hectares of ground. We built an 8.5 kilometre road with 550,000 tonnes of road base that we delivered with side tippers. Big construction pad. And power line corridors, 30 kilometres of power line corridors. How much
road base were you putting in a day?
We had between 3 and 5 side tippers carting anything up to 130 tonnes a load, doing 10 loads a day. So we're, what does that add up to, Jimmy?
7,000 tonne.
8,000 tonne a day. Yeah. So that's a shitload of road base.
That's fucking moving.
Yeah. WA 600 loading at the face and bringing the stuff in. So that was intense. That was really intense. But I think
anyone who hears those numbers, like you sit down and you go, 7,000 tonne of road base needing to go in, and the job still went bad, and the job still not move. Like that component there, although might have been enough or not enough, it still wasn't enough to have you sit here and say that job went well for us, even though you're doing 7,000 tonne a day.
The thing was, we did the job really well. We got all that 7,000 tonne in a day, and we spread it out, and we did it right, and we compacted it. And it's like concrete, that whole road. It went wrong in the pricing phase because I didn't have the right person pricing it for me in the first place. So we could have stacked the price up a couple million more, and it would have been a completely different job. I'd be telling you a completely different story.
You'd be sitting here going,
yeah. I would have flown my own plane over from Perth, But no, it's a learning experience. We survived. It wasn't the end of the world. It just felt like it.
Yeah, at the time, looking back, what is it? If you a memory without emotion is called wisdom.
That's beautiful, mate.
Thank you.
Did you come up with that?
No,
That's
I heard it the other day from a bloke. But if you think back now, when you're in it, the emotion that you're feeling, like you feel that you are this big, but the weight on your shoulders is this much, and that life's really shit. Yeah. Looking back now, look how you talk about it, with no emotion, and you're saying, we were good, we pumped our numbers, we did well, this is where I think we learned from it. But more so than that, I learned that I didn't really want to do 550,000 tonne roads.
Life doesn't have to be that hard. You can enjoy your earth moving.
And look at the wisdom. You're sitting here, you're pretty much Confucius.
I'm the wisest motherfucker you've met today. Right? We've learned a lot from that. And basically it comes down to, let's stick to what we know, because we're really good at what we do, and which is basically wet plant hire, and we're really good at that, and we make good money doing that, and it's manageable and controllable and containable. We work for big clients, so getting paid's never a problem, and the workflow is there. So they've always got a project on the go, and we love what we do.
Do you stay on projects for a long time or a short time?
We sort of do short-term projects. Every gold mining site, every mining site has a projects department, and they're in charge of infrastructure and stuff like that. So they're our good friends. We also do a lot of work for environmental departments and exploration departments. And there's always something that they need done. You know, at the moment we're working on one mine site, and we just move from one dam to the next, to the next, to the next, building dams out of waste rock, line them with geofabric, and move on to the next one. That haul roads, I cleared we built a 14-kilometre pipeline corridor with scour pits last month. Cleared a 12-kilometre power line corridor last week myself.
What's a clearing I hear? What's your machine of choice out there?
My 963D.
Look at him, I set him up.
I know. Sorry,
I set him up on purpose.
I just got to sit up in the seat. My 963D. Woof. I love a drop.
Is that, we don't see many anymore?
No, and it's a shame because they're such a great machine. They take a bit of skill, and, you know, you end up with a headache at the end of the day if it's an old girl, but they are such a handy machine. The power of a bulldozer, the versatility of a loader, put a rake bucket or something on it, and you've got a clearing weapon. You don't have to have a dozer with a huge rake on it.
No?
No. A rake bucket on my 963D, and I can clear 2.5 hectares in a day, which might not sound like a lot unless you do clearing. If it's a long, skinny thing like a corridor, that's the best machine for clearing. And the smaller version of that is a big, people call them posi tracks, but they're compact track loaders.
CTLs.
CTLs,
CTLs,
Calling it a posi track's like calling anything with 2 wheels a Harley, right? Or anything with 4 wheels a Model T.
He's worked on that one before.
Yeah.
So what CTL have you got? We were talking about it before.
We got a few. I've got a couple of 299 D3 Caterpillars, and I just, about a month ago, I picked up the first 285 XE from Westtrack, the first one in WA. And oh my goodness, I've got to adjust myself in the seat again because that is one horny machine.
134 horsepower, you told me, in a Bobcat. With 7 ton.
With the right hydraulic attachment, it pumps out 134 horsepower, they tell me. But a rake bucket on it, a big Norm Engineering Pro Series 4-in-1 bucket on it. It's incredible. 2 tons a bucket.
Now, part of what I'm hearing is, and we can start, like, you got the cat hat, first big model of the CTL 2299s. You know, growing up, driving 777s, we've spoken about a 740.
Yeah.
You're a cat man.
These days I am. Yeah. Like I said before, Bobcat is my first love, but these days, where we operate, it's not so much about the brand of the machine as the backup and the service. And Westtrack, the Caterpillar shop in WA, is the only shop that's open 24/7 in Kalgoorlie. Otherwise, you're calling people in Perth who've already knocked off for the day because you know how things break down at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon.
It's the only time they break down.
That's exactly right. It pretty much is, really, isn't it? It's always when you get the phone call. So these days we're all Caterpillar. About 3.5 years ago, I took on a business partner who's merged his mechanical business with ours, Lee Both. He came to me and he said, I think we could both benefit from this. So he took over running the workshop, and about the first thing he said to me was, we're going to swap all your machines over, or as we replace machines, we're going to go Caterpillar. I think at one point there I had 7 different brands of machines because...
How did they go all up? Like, I've noticed on some of your stuff, I obviously do a little bit of a stalk before people come in, so I don't look like a dill sitting here. You had some Hitachis.
I love Hitachi excavators.
But you got Cat.
I love Hitachi excavators, but it's hard to get them to come and fix them when they break down because every machine, no matter how good it is, whatever brand, they all break down. It eventually
breaks down. We use them for so long of a time that it just has to break down.
Something's going to give at some point. Hitachi excavators, for me, are the best excavators, but you've got to have the backup and the service local to where you are. So we're 600 kilometres from Perth, and it's we struggled a little bit to get Hitachi to jump when we called. So Caterpillar, they do, for most of the machines, I think they make the best machines available. But some of them that aren't the best machines available, like the excavators, you've got to have the service and backup, and that's the thing that makes a difference.
Do you think that it's only about the service and backup? Because
you've got to have a good machine too. You know, the machine, the guys have got to be happy.
Well, they all at some point dig holes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like they do dig holes. And I think that the production values are so important, you know, like the difference in someone running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week compared to, you know, us who we have every single day with the traffic. We have 7:30 a.m. till 9 a.m. Our efficiency level goes through the floor because of the trucks. You can have the best digger in the world sitting on that pile of dirt. You're not going to move any more dirt with it.
I agree.
You go out on, however, it sounds a little bit more like in your areas, and then all of a sudden,
service and backup becomes pretty critical, doesn't it?
Service and backup becomes the main thing.
Yep.
You know, and of course, it has to be fit for function, I think, rather than being like the greatest machine. It has to be fit for purpose.
For us, what we do, where we work,
it's
not uncommon for us to drive for an hour to get to the machine and spend all day working and not see anybody.
Even on the drive in?
I drive 25 minutes. I live in Kalgoorlie, which is all of 35 kilometres from Kalgoorlie. And
just a little bit further in the middle of nowhere.
Just a bit further past the middle of nowhere. 25-minute drive into work at 110 kilometres an hour. If I see a dozen cars on that drive, it's a busy morning.
How did you go this morning?
It was stressful. Just riding in an Uber, that was stressful for me. I stood out on your balcony, had a coffee and watched the traffic go past, and I scratched my head.
It's chaos, ain't it? It is chaos.
I used to drive a truck and dog around Sydney. I did retail excavations in Sydney for 10 years after I finished high school. Truck and dog through Sydney, no problem at all. And whatever I had to do, 3 jobs a day, learn how to talk to people, drive trucks through traffic in Sydney, and honestly, it gives me heart attacks just driving into Perth these days.
You know, I used to spin a lot of truck and dogs, and then I used to help do a lot of the floats. Not a lot. Maybe I did a couple hundred floats all up, 100, 200 floats, whatever, over the years. But I used to just jump in it. And and just go, and then you put me on in the middle of the city, driving through the skyscrapers, 35-ton excavator on the back, no problem. Or truck and dog reversing in off of a 2-lane road. Done. Now when I go and do it, I know that the skill's there, but if you don't use it, you sort of lose it a bit because you know I'm not confident anymore. I went and floated something, maybe 5-6 months ago. Don't worry, I've got it. I'll get it done.
I know how to do it. I'm the boss. I know how to do it.
Fuck. Oh shit. And I was worried as well. Genuinely, where I had to go into the middle of the city with it. Freeway's all right. You know, your attention span level has to be much higher than driving a car. You know, and then they're like, just reverse in there, and you go.
All my employees are valuable. One of my most valuable employees is my float driver. This guy, I trained him to drive side tipping road trains 18 years ago, and he's been with me a few years now, and he's fussy about his truck. He looks after his truck, and he's fussy about tying his load down, and he's fussy about the permits. He does everything right, and I know that if we send him to move any sort of machine that goes on a 50-ton float, the job will be done right and the machine will turn up in one piece.
That sort of peace of mind ends up being so important for business owners, and I think that over the time I've spoken a lot about people and staff and employees and whatever, and an employee who just does the job. Like
with no extra worry from me. Worth their money plus, I shouldn't say it out loud, but worth way more than I pay him.
But worth a lot more. Now, does the industry give you that money to pay him that rate or whatever it is?
Floats don't make money.
Floats
you know that.
Floats don't really make money. But like I've had some brilliant float operators work for me over the years. I've got an absolute cracker at the moment. And not only that, the attitude that is needed to be in a float, right? The attitude that says, yeah, sure, that's okay. I can have it there at 7 a.m. even though it's 2 hours away. You know, or no problem, I can pick that up, or I can get in there, or I'll sort it out. You know, like don't worry. We like low bridges and weight limited roads and all of that sort of stuff. It's a degree of stress that's pretty high.
I'm so glad I work in the middle of nowhere. But I don't have to deal with overhead stuff. No bridges, power lines, rare problems.
We bought a new truck, and so to tow, bought a new Mercedes. New to us, Mercedes truck, a second hand. I think it's 2020 model or something. And I didn't go and look at it. This is just recently. I didn't go and look at it before I bought it. Send the mechanic. Right. Mechanic looks at it. So mechanically all good, no problem. It'll link up to and do the job that we need it to do. The fucking thing rocked up and it's 4.3 metres tall. It's got the extended cab on the top of it. Right. I got photos, but I don't know. The guy who took the photo must have been 9 foot tall. So when he took the photo, it just looked like the normal
size truck. You need a Western Power permit just to drive the thing down the street.
God. Or whatever it is, or 4.1. But like it's tall.
It's a big truck.
It's tall. She's a big rig. The driver who gets in it, he's going to be like one of those people who can make his, stand up and walk around inside the cab.
For a Melbourne float.
No, this one's a truck and dog.
Right.
Yeah. So we had a trailer available, and rather than selling the trailer, we'll buy a truck to tow it.
Chuck a truck in front of the trailer.
Yeah, a tall one. A tall truck. Then I actually had a phone call from one of the drivers, and he goes, Jimmy, I've been booked in at a job and there's too many low bridges around there. I'm going to have to go the long way because of this tall truck.
Yeah, right. Now you're going to have to plan your jobs around the height of the cab of a truck.
And we're just going to have to add another process into the processes that have already coming out my ass to sit down and say, this rego needs to be wary of this height. Which you get, you're going to have barriers. Just make sure that if you are getting photos of the truck, like mechanically we did our tip checks and whatever else, and there was the right price and everything. But I should have, if I had seen it, I would have rocked up and I would have been like,
hang on a second.
We're not buying that. Like it's just this much taller than, the ones I'm talking about.
Personally, my preference is for day cab trucks. I'm not interested in the big Kenworths with the 50, 60-inch bunks and all the chrome and stuff. I want vocational trucks. I got a 909 that's a day cab.
What motor?
What is it? X15, the 600 2050.
Ooh, he's got a newer one, boys and girls.
Well, that was a brand new one. Like I said, this whole business is really, it's not a business plan. It's more an addiction, right? The 909, 509 as well, just an IT bunk.
509.
Yeah, man. Where we come from, where I come from.
You just said that if it can move 50 ton, 509's 100 ton.
It's 165 ton rated, that truck. but because where we are, quad road trains are pretty normal. That's a normal size truck, and you need the big trucks to get the rating to pull those trucks. I used to have a beautiful little 409 SAR, but but I couldn't put 4 trailers behind it, so. That one's long gone now. But 909.
Do you have 4 trailer trucks that you drive?
I've got a 2.5. But there's the side tipper business, road haulage, bulk haulage is a massive industry where we are. So there's that many companies that have all those trucks.
And not only that.
Call some mates up and they send me a road train.
It's big money. Those trucks and trailers are big money.
Yeah, they are. And part of that comes from they run around the clock, 24/7 operation. And so they're making money all the time, and they're getting paid by the ton that they cart too.
Yeah, there are a couple of the big ones. We all know the companies that are doing the big stuff out there. Like they're running quads now. It's quad
4 7-axle trailers.
Yeah,
imagine pulling. You've got a semi trailer and you're pulling 3 7-axle dogs behind that. And there's even I think they're calling them quints now up in the Pilbara, 5-trailer road trains, a massive gear. When I drove.
That'd have to be a $4 million truck or something, $3-4 million bucks.
Couple million, I think, for a 3.5 for a quad, you're putting about $1.5 million on the road.
$1.5 million to 2, let's say, for the quad, and then a Quinn is going to be.
And there's fleets up there of 100 road trains.
This
plus.
is the other part. No one's employing you if you got one.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard. We have a 2.5 set of side tippers.
Yep.
And we're not in the bulk haulage business. We just need some way to deliver an efficient amount of dirt to our own jobs.
It's mind blowing to think that you could have a small road train because you need to deliver some dirt.
Yeah, because we need to deliver dirt 100 tons at a time. That's right. So, but that's the economies of scale, and also where we work. We're not constricted in our work areas. You know, we're working in 100-hectare sites and mining areas that are just massive, and so you don't want a 6-wheel tipper delivering your dirt. You need a road train delivering 100 tons at a time because you're putting down 7,000 tons of road base a day, so that sort of thing. So bigger gear. We're essentially a bobcat business, but our bobcats are 980, 982 loaders, 740B dump trucks, 2.5 trailer road trains, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so those are the the Kalgoorlie equivalent of a bobcat business.
I'm basically, let's face facts here, I'm basically a bobcat and tipper guy. It's just ended up being 30-odd yellow machines and all the people.
But do you think that over there that's the difference of scale that we're talking about?
It is. And then like my equivalent to your basement excavation is an open pit gold mine operation. And so we're just working on bigger sites. We're moving more dirt. They build bigger sheds.
I was reading about one of the speaking, just for people to have some context at home around some of these bulk haulage trucking companies. One of them built a 200-man camp, right, with all of the facilities for their truck drivers. They were going to have some stupid, ridiculous amount of net numbers. They had to move 20,000 tonne a shift or something, but the distance was massive. And 80 million they spent on the camp and the amenities, and they were selling themselves as this full
service package
to come in there. You just tell us where we're delivering 20,000 tonnes a shift to over 400 Ks or something, whatever the fuck it was, and we'll do the rest. And this is the rate per tonne.
That's basically how it operates.
And that's insane. Like that is like we move a bit of dirt here, and I suppose that, like, you know, if I was over there and I was, you know, the size I am equivalent here, that we would, I don't know what size jobs we take on, but their camps, feeding them, flying them, you know, the full maintenance setup. They're doing deals with Kenworth to have, on-site mechanics.
There are $1 billion haulage companies operating in WA. Seriously, stock exchange listed $1 billion haulage companies built from that side tipper haulage operation. Massive businesses, and they get into crushing and screening and all sorts of haulage, and it's just an enormous business. I used to work for a haulage company in Kalgoorlie, and the way it works is that the gold mining company builds a mill where they process the ore into gold bars, and instead of building a new mill every time they open up an open pit, they just do the mining, and then they use the road trains to cart the ore to the mill. So they don't have to rebuild the mill every time they go mining. And those road trains run 24/7, bringing the ore to the mill. And it was fantastic because that's sort of a job. It's a challenge because you've got targets to meet and you just go hard and get it done. Back 20 years ago, it was a slightly different environment to operate in than it is now, because
I can only imagine.
I wanted to call my road train fly by night, but they wouldn't allow that. It sort of peeked behind the curtain too much for the safety guy at the time, so they shut me down. But but yeah, a great job, and bulk work, non-stop, constant work. It's a big business, and
as many hours as you want to do.
Well, yeah, fatigue management wise,
fatigue management,
that's right.
Rules and limits,
the road trains never stop moving, you know, and there's big margins involved when your machines work 24/7. Keeping the people up to the machines, that's the hard part. and then that's where the accommodation comes in and the fly and fly out. So for our operation, I really like where I live, and so I want my business to be a Kalgoorlie-based, Coolgardie-based, local business. And so we employ local. I don't do any fly and fly out. We only employ people who live where we work, basically, and that limits my ability to grow the business. I used to have a lot of fly and fly out people, but these days it's all residential guys, and I like that allows us to have a Monday to Friday roster, so everyone gets their weekends off, they're home every night, and that sort of thing. We keep close to home, but to grow very much more, we're going to need to start flying people in and out, and then you get into accommodation, and how do you accommodate all the people without spending every dollar you make on accommodation, things like that. And that's where those big companies are getting into their own accommodation villages and things like that. It's tough. It's tough to compete against companies like that.
I think that's across the board, though. There's a guy who is the Bobcat operator who's currently in a backyard in Melbourne saying, no, I can't compete against the bigger guy in Melbourne.
Yep.
And I think that's just one of the challenges of being a small business, figuring out what your niche is, figuring out where you're more efficient, can do things for cheaper or, in a better way.
Offer a service no one else is offering.
Offer a service that other people can't, like those guys who are building an $80 million camp. I think they'd be fairly rigid, in terms of can you imagine putting a contract in front of them? Oh, we want to do this. And they go, no, we've already designed it and you're doing this.
This is what you're going to do.
This is what you're going to do. And we're going to make sure it's done this way. If with you or me or whatever, you end up rolling in there and there's a little bit more flexibility to work with there. But then the flexibility comes a little bit more risk, and the big companies take away all risk.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Risk assessment. Business, whatever size business, whatever business you're in, it's about risk assessment. You're trying to minimise the risk that you face every day, or you're balancing the risk that you face every day against the reward that you get for taking the risk. And for me, after 15 years in business, tried a whole bunch of things, been big, been small, settled into a medium-sized business because that's the level of risk that I'm comfortable with. And I've got a good team of people around me, and I know that I can trust them to go and do the job, do it safely, and make money for the business. And the risk assessment side of it is huge. But if you don't do it, you're flying blind, and that's the biggest risk you can take.
So where to for Versatile from here?
Oh, look, I have no great dream to be a $1 billion company. I really like the business that we are at the moment, which I think I would call it a medium-sized business where we operate. I think we want to just sort of consolidate and spend a few more years just doing what we're doing. We've got some really good clients, good rolling work, really good crew of guys, and I think that we'll just keep tonking along for a few more years now. And there'll be some growth in the coming year because I know that we've got some big jobs on the horizon. Keep going for a while. I'm not a greedy man. At some point I'll cash it in and live happily in Coolgardie, raise my boys in Coolgardie and just enjoy life for a while.
Do they like the tractors?
Fuck, yes. My 2-year-old recognises our logo.
Really?
Yeah, wife Shay was telling me the other day that there's a float with an excavator driving past when they were out walking in Coolgardie, and one of my water carts was parked the other side of the road, and he wanted to see around the excavator. Daddy, 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 went looking at my water cart. So, yeah, he's excited.
Isn't that nice? Let's talk about, so you said a couple of boys.
Yeah, I've got 2 boys under 2 years old.
Whoa.
Life change at 47, mate. Met the love of my life a few years ago. She was a roller driver for us, actually. And now
there's a story here.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's a good story. It's a good story.
I don't know how far I want to go into it because it's a PG-rated show. However, there is a story here. Roller driver.
It is a good story. I've got many good stories.
And 2 kids under 2.
So like
at 47.
Yeah, I'm 40.
I didn't know I was sitting in front of a mental patient. I
got away with it for 47 years, mate.
Jesus.
Was married for a long time, but that dissolved eventually, as everything or things tend to do, and then just it is a long story, but ended up one of my employees needed a safe place to stay, and so she came and stayed with me and just never left. And happily married now with two beautiful little boys who are going to have life skills. Let's face it, if you're going to teach your kids skills that will earn them money anywhere on the planet, you might as well do that. Give them a good opportunity.
I've got a big thing about kids these days, like far out. They're only learning iPads and computers, and then half of the shit you read online says the computer's going to think for you and do all of the work for you. So why are we teaching kids to be on computers? Yeah. Everyone said that computers were the future, so we had to learn how to drive them. You
look at machines now. One of the biggest things that certain sales reps push is, look at the size of the touch screen in this machine. I don't care about the touch screen. Tell me that I can operate this machine with millimetre precision.
Tell me that it can multifunction and not die.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, mate.
And I worry so much for kids and stuff because, one, how the fuck are they ever going to buy a house?
Yeah.
How are they going to buy a house when it's $1 million for a house now and, everywhere. Everywhere's $1 million.
Kalgoorlie, it's not.
Okay, maybe not in Kalgoorlie, but like every major city's $1 million now, I think. They're rising faster than you can save money. And then all kids are learning these days at school is rubbish and how to drive an iPad.
Yes. Yeah. No, me too. And two boys under 2, I'm worried about the future for them. But just like my dad did with me, because my old man had Bobcats. I've been driving Bobcats since I was about 6 years old. Just like my dad did with me, my boys are going to learn how to operate machines and drive trucks and do it properly, right? And look after the machines, how to do the work, and they can be whatever they want to be. I don't care who they are. They can be whatever they want to be, but they will have skills. I'm going to teach them the skills so they can take those skills anywhere on the planet and earn good money.
I actually had there's been a couple of different people on this podcast, a couple of different concreters who have said, like my kids are going to know how to concrete and concrete well.
Yep.
And their baseline is, I think a concrete is $500 or $600 a day.
Yep.
But I could be well wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a concreter, but we'll call it 500.
Yep.
Their baseline's going to be $500 a day.
Yep. They'll never be hungry when they can lay concrete or drive a machine, will they?
Correct. You're always going to have a job, although in saying that I see some autonomous shit rolling out now. But
AI is coming for all our jobs.
Oh, man. I just sit there and I go, like, we're telling everyone to learn how to use computers, and then all of a sudden we end up making the computers run themselves.
Yeah, I know. Imagine, so it's front of mind, kids' TV is front of mind for me most of the time these days. Bob the Builder. Watch Bob the Builder. He stands around, has a pre-start meeting in the morning, and it's the machines. He's talking to the machines and he tells them what they want to do, what he wants them to do for the day. And they go, righto, Bob, we can fix it. And off they go and do the work. Is that the AI future that we're looking at in the earth-moving industry?
I don't know, but I didn't know if when we started this podcast, if someone had said to me, Jimmy, one day Bob the Builder's going to come up and it's going to make a really good point, I'd be like, fuck, I don't think we're going to be there. But we are.
The AI thing, people talk about, it's coming for our jobs. And I always thought to myself, no, earth-moving, AI is never going to dig a hole as good as I can. But seriously, kids' TV, you start thinking to yourself, well, imagine if you could just give a machine instructions and it would interpret your instructions, understand it, and go off GPS guided and just do what you told it to do.
But you sort of a little bit can, like already. Just the smallest amount.
Yeah. But it's early days.
There's a tickle on the surface that says that you sort of can do that. Give it the thing.
Yeah.
Like if you've got some CAT next gens or some high level GPS machines, with your auto grade and stuff like that. It doesn't work for shit though.
I'm not a fan myself.
If you're a CAT dealer or any GPS system that puts the auto grade on diggers, to get it to be accurate enough, you have to be so slow that you may as well leave it off and have a good operator in the seat.
That's it, yeah.
However, that is what the grader guys said about millimeter and GPS when they started. And it's like, nah, give me blocks and string, you know.
Yeah.
And now, if you don't have millimeter on that grader, you are not doing roads.
You're not getting the work.
You're not getting the work.
Yeah, I agree. My limited experience, we have GPS machines, but my limited personal experience of it is I'd rather leave it off and do what I know how to do. But that's not future-proofing your business. You've got to have that technology and you've got to have operators who know how to use it, because eventually...
Well, the GPS is just a great indicator. You know, like when someone asks me how to use GPS, I say, right, if you sit down and say that this is the GPS here, and your bucket's in front of you, if you dig like this, you're going to be shit. And I don't care what skills you've got. It's over here, you're out there, you go dig. It's just another point of reference for you.
It's
to
a distraction for the operator.
It is, but it does give you the level without having a labourer there.
That's true. I've done a lot of training in trucks and machines over the years, and I've always said that with excavators in particular, I've always told people, think of it as the teeth on the bucket. That's the part that's doing the work. The rest of the machine is connected to the teeth on the bucket, so that's what you've got to watch. If you've got a screen there and you're watching the screen rather than the teeth of the bucket, that's what you're watching. And that means that you're not switched on with the job, and you're not going to see that pipe that no one identified before you started digging the hole and stuff like that. I'm making generalisations, but it's
really tough.
Old school skills.
Yeah, well, but then I have the guys, I tell them to focus on the teeth of the bucket and they wipe out the counterweight on the rocks behind them. And then they said, you told me to watch the teeth. And you go, not like that. But there's just so many... There's so many questions about what it's going to be, because like I've got a mate who has rollers that are autonomous rollers.
Yeah, right.
Geo-fenced, GPS'd.
Count the passes.
They count the passes. They QA it. It does not have an operator, and it will not go outside.
No operator in the cab.
No operator.
See, that sounds like a benefit. Roller driving it's a skill and an art. But it's a skill and an art that I think could probably be replaced by automation.
You know, the problem I had with it is, like, I was pricing up a big job, a big job where we needed a roller operator, and I thought, do you know what? I'll check it out. I've got the contact from the guy who has it. I got the contact. I'll get in touch with him and I'll see just what it's about. Right? They're going to fuck it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why they're going to fuck it. They're charging a subscription service.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
And the subscription service is a roller operator costs you $60,000 or $80,000 or $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
We want $40,000 a year for you not to have a roller operator.
Yeah.
And like I said to the guy, I said, so what, I can't buy it? He's like, nah, it's subscription. How much subscription? Stop with the subscriptions.
Yes, I agree.
You know, like I don't want another subscription. I want to buy it.
Yeah.
Like if it's the price of a roller, okay, great.
Yeah.
I can work that backwards, you know, like give me a pen and a piece of paper and I can get it down to the end that says I'm going to be a plus or minus.
Yeah.
However, don't give me a fucking subscription.
Subscriptions. Why? It's the pay model that just keeps paying.
Well, it's the hook that's in you, you know, and then all of a sudden what happens, you have 3 of these rollers running around and then they say, oh, listen, your subscription was X.
If you want this feature, and now it's going to be X plus 10.
Plus 10, and the CPI or whatever the hell it is has gone up 4% this year. So now it's X plus 10 for your new feature plus 4 because of money going up, and you go, I just want milk that tastes like real milk. Like, you know, I just want to be able to buy something. Like, why is it now? You know, my grandpa didn't have a subscription to shit.
No.
Like he didn't even know what
Truck
a subscription
Life magazine
was.
maybe, but
maybe,
you know,
maybe. But you also like going to the news agents and picking it up. And now there is a subscription for television. There's a subscription, but you name it.
Features in your car.
Volkswagen put out, or was it Mercedes that put out that said that if you subscribed, paid them €1,000 a year, your car went from 100 horsepower to 150 horsepower.
It'll be windscreen wipers next. Starts raining and your windscreen wipers won't work because you have to update your payment methods.
Correct. I've really had a lot of interaction with it because we ended up having you got your takeoff software. Well, first off, let's go earlier than that. You've got where the tenders come through. You need to be part of the tender platform.
Yeah, that's
There's
a subscription. Yeah.
Then you got your takeoff, system that you use. There's a subscription. You need a near map subscription because you might need to measure something, or you need the most updated map. So there's one. Then you need a dispatch software. Then you need a docket software. Then you need a pre-start software. Then and you end up with 15 subscriptions plus your bills plus running a business. Then your GPS subscription on top to actually do the job.
And really, to make all that stuff work, you need to employ people to manage those systems.
Yeah.
Where it would be easier to just have a driver in the roller. I got a preference for roller drivers. My wife, but
So he can't say a word against a roller driver.
I like roller drivers. Don't get me wrong. But where does it stop? Where does it stop? Unless we're heading towards a Bob the Builder scenario where you pre-start meeting in the morning, there's you talking to 6 machines and you verbalise what you want them to do and they take off.
But is it us talking to? I don't know. There's some. Guy who studied IT that needs to stay inside because you'll get bad asthma. Is it us having a pre-start meeting with him and Could him be. Typing in for the machines? Because I know, one, I don't have asthma, and two, I can't run a computer. So I'm no good at that.
Yeah.
Just no good. Yeah. But is that where we're going? That's where it is in the mine sites.
That's for mining operations, yeah. But they've got the budgets to cover all of that. And they've got specialists. They have machine operators sitting in the airport in Perth, running dump trucks and bulldozers and things in the Pilbara, and that's the way they're going. And that's like the leading edge of the technology development is the mining companies who see a cost benefit or a safety benefit because they have different priorities to a business like mine, but they're developing that stuff because it works for them and it'll filter down. I think you'll see that. You'll be working with that sort of stuff here in Melbourne before I see it out in the bush in the gold fields. We're a long way. WA's always stood for wait a while. We're years behind what you guys do in Melbourne, and I kind of like it that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're giving me chills talking about all your apps and your systems and things, and honestly, I'm glad I don't have to do it.
I ended up doing away with half of them. Yeah. Instead, I've employed a software engineer that we build our own. I've done away with, we had one that went from, they were charging us, let's say, $30,000 a year, right? And then they rang up and they're like, listen, you are overutilising this platform. I'm like, overutilising, okay. They're like, we want $100,000 a year. And you go, fuck off. So anyway, I've got my 5-minute hand up warning. How do you finish? What's your thoughts in your brain?
Look, honestly, the flying here from Kalgoorlie, going through Perth and then coming into Melbourne, and the whole thing, talking to you about your systems and your apps and the future and stuff like that, it makes me really glad that I work and live where I work and live, right?
Isn't that nice?
It is. Views that go all the way to the horizon and peace and quiet and a lack of oversight, not a lack of oversight, but less oversight than you guys deal with. And it's really enjoyable. I really love where I live and work. And, cost of houses in the big cities and cost of living crisis and all of this sort of stuff and the stress of travelling in the traffic. Just in the Uber this morning, I was having palpitations just getting here this morning. People should look at regional life. The Uber driver this morning was telling me that he's a civil engineer, but he can't get a job anywhere in Melbourne. I told him, try WA. If you want to get ahead in life, I moved to Kalgoorlie 19 years ago with nothing, literally nothing, and now I have an earth-moving business, and it's my dream come true because I was always going to do this. I just didn't know where I was going to do it. If you feel like you're not getting ahead in Melbourne or Sydney, move to WA. Come and live in regional WA. Kalgoorlie is a great place to live. There's loads of job opportunities. Houses, my house cost $195,000 and it's a really nice little cottage. I've got a handful of guys that I pay more than $200,000 a year to, and they live in Kalgoorlie in $300,000, $400,000 houses. There's so much to do. We don't have beaches, but you can get to a beach, and there's things to do. There's opportunities for people who are willing to take the risk and move to a regional area. And it's not just Kalgoorlie, I'm talking about anywhere in Australia. There's opportunities to earn good money, build something for yourself, affordable housing, affordable living, and it's a great lifestyle as well. So I would say if anyone's looking for a change and got a set of balls, try regional life.
Oh, what a way to fucking finish.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That, I reckon that'll be clip number 1. Phil, thank you very much for coming. See, I take the easy side.
You take that. I got it. Yeah.
Everyone figures out how to do it after. As always, Phil, Versatile Plant Hire, I appreciate you coming out here and flying over.
It's been a pleasure, Jimmy.
Like, subscribe, comment, share to your mates, tell your wife, and see you next week, everyone, I suppose.